Game over is right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Game Over Ottawa. I'm Charlie, and I waited 11 days between shows for this. Yeah. Um, I I don't even know where to start with this one. That is just one of the most horrific games I've watched in a long time. And being a Sens fan, that's saying something. I guess we'll just start out with the fact that for anyone who didn't catch the game, 5-0 win for the Florida Panthers. Well, yeah. I mean, okay. Well, all anyone needs to know to really kind of get the gist of how this game went. 65 seconds into the game, the Sens had already iced the puck twice and took a penalty. By the, I believe, 87 or 88 second mark, it was 1-0 for Florida. I don't know. I don't even know what to. I don't even know how to go with it. I'm at the point now where, like, I was angry and I'm just dead inside. I'm just dead inside. God, I don't even like. God. So by the third TV timeout of this game, shots were 10-2 for Florida. Like a little over 15 minutes into the game, shots were 10-2 for Florida. Ottawa had a 4-minute power play in there. Awful. Then the Sens didn't have their first shot of the second period until over 11 minutes in. Yeah, I don't know. Like this team, this team sucks. This team sucks. The systems suck. Everything about this team is awful. And like if you're one of the fans that's happy about like them showing anger and showing some emotion towards the end of the game, like that's fine. Like I get it. But like so this game went completely off the rails, right? There was what's the count here? We got a total of 167 penalty minutes, which might go up. I don't know. They maybe they missed something. They'll add something to it. I don't know. But like, let me make sure I did my math right because I'm really bad at math. Yeah, 167 looks like. Like okay, so I get it if you're someone who is like really thrilled with this team showing anger or whatever. I'm sorry, it's the bare fucking minimum. Like, great that you showed some fucking life at the end of this game, but you've looked dead for the last, like, 12, 13 games. Like, I understand the relief. I understand being like, oh my god, finally there's something. There's something. But, like, it's too little too late, not just for this game, but, like, what feels like the season. Also, side note, I forgot to bring up at the beginning of the show, I've had some, like, issues with my mic. I'm keeping an eye on it, but if at any point I cut out and I don't notice, let me know. But I'm trying my best to keep a close eye on it. Just throwing that out there. I need to look into getting a new interface. Yeah. So yeah, I do think the goon fest at the end of games like that I've never enjoyed it. I've never seen a referee say every player on the ice gets a 10-minute misconduct. That was a first. So like, as much as I hate that kind of shit to end games, that at least was interesting. I will say the everyone on the ice gets a 10-minute misconduct. That's kind of interesting. That's interesting. Yeah, okay. So we're I want to take a second to talk about Korpisalo because if I don't like if I don't stop myself from going completely off the rails, I'm never going to get to it. So I specifically want to talk about Korpisalo for a bit before I like completely lose my mind. So it is infuriating seeing how like it honestly, it's fucking infuriating seeing how this team plays, regardless of who's in net. Like, you can look at the numbers and be like, Forsberg has sucked, or Korpisalo hasn't been good enough, which isn't true. I'll give you Forsberg. I'll give you Forsberg. But Korpisalo, coming into this game, in his last 8 appearances, the dude had a .921 save percentage with this defense. With this defense. And let me see here. Yeah, like, yeah, 921 in his last 8 appearances. I take notes like a professional. And I mean, you can say that he fucked up that play that resulted in the second goal. Sure, like he misplayed the puck behind, then he mistimed it, whatever. He had no help on that play, first of all. And then okay, I'm losing the plot here. So he misplays the puck. We'll call it we'll call it 60-40 on Korpisalo on that one. Then the Sens go for that offside challenge. I'm all over the place. You know what? Let's talk about the offside challenge. So, Matthew Tkachuk was in the offensive zone, and clearly the puck went in to the Sens zone before Tkachuk got out, but they deemed that the puck carrier didn't have possession because he received the puck, kind of scooped it into the Sens zone where it wasn't touching his blade. Apparently, I've seen some photos and some close-ups on that replay that looks like it's touching the blade of the stick. Like, I'm not here to argue the rule. I think they got it wrong. It looked like it was touching the stick. Whatever. It's a fuzzy 240p zoom in. So, like, whatever. Get better cameras, NHL. But, like, I don't know. I think it's a 50-50 call because, like, they'd have to overturn the goal, right? Like, that's always a 50-50 thing. So, like, it's tough to decide whether he has possession, whatever, and I get that, but, like, it sounds like some galaxy brain bullshit being like he didn't have possession of the puck, but, like, he was the puck carrier, but his stick wasn't, whatever. Anyway, Tkachuk got out of the zone. They call it a goal. Sens get called, get a penalty for delay of game for failing the coach's challenge. Florida fucking scores so quick. It's 3-0 Ottawa. And at that point it's 3-0. 3-0. Did I just say 3-0 Ottawa? I fucking wish. Ottawa's down 3-0. So you can blame Korpisalo on that second goal, and if that second goal doesn't go in, then they don't take the penalty, and then it's not 3-0. But when it was 3-0 Florida, it probably should have been 5-0 if not for Korpisalo's insane save. Korpisalo made several saves in this game, specifically that second period, that he had no business making. He had no help as usual. The game would have been 5-0 by the halfway point of the second if not for Korpisalo, if not worse than that, right? So I just wanted to talk about Korpisalo a little bit because his numbers suck after this game. Like, what? Let me take a look. What was he this game? Like, he had an .868 this game, and it's not fair. It's not fair. It's not fair that he walks away with an .868. It's brutal. Korpisalo should demand a trade tonight. He's earned a trade to a team with NHL defensemen. It's awful. It's awful. Okay, I got that out of the way. Now let's just dive in to I don't even know. Like, I was thinking before, like, I've lost, like, any fire, any, like, actual being pissed off. I think doing this show is helping me regain that. I just hit a point of, like, just feeling nothing. Like, it's done. I gotta move my lens cap or I'm just gonna keep playing with it this whole show and get mad. God, I don't even, like, okay, so let's just get into let's just do it. I wanted to avoid it for the next few episodes because this seems to be all I talk about every time I'm on the show. If this isn't DJ's last game as coach, Steve Staios and Michael Andlauer aren't fucking serious. They're not. They're not. When Pierre Dorian was let go, when Dorian was left the team mutually in huge fucking quotation marks, Steve Stais said that they had all the faith in the world in this coaching staff. At the time, that sounded like a fucking stretch. So today, absolutely, absolutely insane that they would stick with this group. Like, I don't even know where. So like, and listen, honestly, I had the thought today where I was like, I think the Sens playing like shit might actually be saving DJ his job for a while. Going back to earlier this season, you can look at how the Sens play, and you can blame the systems a lot. You can blame the systems a lot, especially on defense. No one knows who they're covering. It's a fucking mess in their own end. It doesn't help when Travis Hamonic is on the ice at any point because, like, you can just kind of, like, set your watch to him fucking something up. But when the rest of the guy, when Jake Sanderson looks lost out there, there's a fucking problem with the system. There has to be. There's no reason Jake Sanderson looked better as a rookie in his own end than this year as a sophomore. It makes no sense. Oh, oh man. At the time when Steve Stais announced that he would be interim GM while they look for a GM potentially to hire this season, and he said that they were happy with the coaching staff and how they, at that point, I think everyone decided, all right, well, DJ's here for the rest of the year. The Sens, by some miracle, in their last 11 games are 5-6, I believe. I don't know how, like, even just going back to the last 4 games, including tonight. Tonight was a nightmare. Tonight was an absolute nightmare of a game. Absolutely fuck all effort from anyone not named Korpisalo. Or even if there was effort, just the results were not there. It was a nothing game for most people on the team. I'll be honest. I took a night off that Islanders game. I didn't watch it. And from everything I've seen, I made the right call. I think the payback for me being able to get out of watching that game was I had to deal with this one. The 2 wins in Sweden were dog shit. I was told by a few people that I was a bad fan because I couldn't find many positives coming out of those 2 games with wins. The Detroit one, I was it was a bit more public about me being like, they won this game and this game sucked because I was on Game Over. I wasn't on the Minnesota game, but I did say, this game sucked. This team looks terrible. They look the same when they win as when they lose. It's up to how the other team plays. If the other team plays like shit, the Sens might be able to luck their way into a win. This team has fuck all going for them. It's awful. It's awful. I'm just gonna go straight to the chat because I'm at this point I'm just gonna talk about DJ. I'm just gonna be going in circles talking about DJ and how honestly, like, I'll leave it at this. Unless someone asks like a very good question, I'll talk about it as well. Like, if DJ still has his job after tonight, like I said before, Andlauer and Steve Stais aren't fucking serious. They aren't. It means by the end of November, in the last game this team played, because they don't play again till fucking Friday. They oh my god, they played on, what was that, Saturday in Sweden. Then they don't play again till, what was that, last Friday, then Monday, then Friday. This schedule's a joke. I could talk about that too, but I'm going to try my best to avoid that. No, if it's the end of November and at this point DJ still has his fucking job, they don't care. They've come to the conclusion that playoffs are completely out of reach, which, like, let's face it, probably the case at this point. There's too much wrong with this team. They're a game under 500. It doesn't look that bad on paper, but just if you've watched this team, like something needs to be done. So if DJ still has his job after this game, they aren't serious about this season. It's a fucking nightmare. They aren't serious about it if DJ's still here. Start from scratch, scrap the whole coaching staff, which should have been done a year ago. But I mean, like, when they were in the process of trying to sell the team, they weren't going to fire anybody. I get that. But now, like, something needs to be fucking done. And even if it doesn't result in, the best coach in the world taking over and then making the playoffs, like, at least show us that you fucking care, All right. A few things in the chat from Audie. Don't you think there's a better chance they hire a GM first and then let the new GM hire his own coach? I would agree with that. Absolutely. On paper, like, that makes the most sense. From all of the not all of the names, but a good chunk of the names that are linked to the team for potentially, the next GM job. There are people who are currently employed by other teams. So unless someone comes out of nowhere and is a great candidate and they hire them on the spot, like, I could see Staios just sticking it out for the rest of the season as interim GM. So I don't know what that means for the coaching stuff. That's weird. It's a tricky spot when whoever you want to be the new GM is working for another team. And listen, if this is tricky. Do you want? Oh man, because it makes sense. You would want to hire, because if Staios hires a coach after DJ is gone, which he probably won't be, then you hire a GM in the off season. Do they just can the coach you picked out for the remainder of this season for the next 60 whatever games? I don't know. It's a good question, Audie. And you bring up a really good point. Let's see here. What else we got here? A lot of talk about Jay Woodcroft. Adam Firebear asks, "Who's your pick for new coach?" I honestly, this is probably a cop-out answer, and it's gonna sound like it's gonna sound like I'm really unprepared and don't know what I'm talking about. And to be fair, I haven't thought about it that much. I've to be honest, as bad as the coaching has been this season, I've been spending a lot more time trying to just try and manifest like any GM other than Peter Chiarelli for this fucking team. And I hate that. I hate the term manifest. But let's be real. If I've learned nothing else this season, I've learned that between last baseball season and this hockey season, especially more so than the last few years, my general mood is dictated far too much by how my favorite sports teams are doing, and I need a new hobby. And I'm just like at the point now where like fucking my daily attitude is revolving around like, who is my favorite sports team gonna hire for a fucking management role? And it's exhausting. It is exhausting, and I need new hobbies. Carolyn Willette would be a great coach, but she loves coaching in Concordia. Oh yeah. I've seen a lot of people talk about how cool it would be for Cheryl Pounder. That would rule. Actually, let me double check on, because I think it was. Because first of all, like, it's cool as hell that they've got her in the NHL game this year. The game's dog shit until they make some changes, but like, it's really cool that they brought her into the NHL game, so that's cool. Thing number one. But no, like, her, like, no, the way she breaks down the game on broadcast is phenomenal. I'd be so down for that. But no, unfortunately, I haven't really put a whole lot of thought into future coaching options. I know I just said I've thought about the GM a lot more, but I honestly try not to get my hopes up too high about managerial stuff. It's not something I'm especially confident in, or something I know a lot of. I'm not like the most knowledgeable on stuff like that. So, more often than not, something's announced like that, and I go, I don't know who that is, and then they end up doing a good job. So, um, if it's anyone other than Peter Chiarelli, I'm sure I'll be happy about it. Maybe a lot of that will just come from like finally it's over and we can like as a fan base just focus on the future now that there's someone else in charge for the first time in forever. Um, but no, I probably won't be doing a whole lot of speculation on that just because like I'm not the most knowledgeable guy to be doing that. Um, yeah, from Garnet in the chat, the players or two that would benefit from a coaching change are the two goalies at the very least. Absolutely, it is. Like I said earlier in the show, if Korpisalo demanded a trade tonight, I'd understand. It's absolutely embarrassing what those two have had to deal with. More so Korpisalo than Forsberg. Like Forsberg's been softer. He's let in some. Forsberg's been worse. There's no doubt about it. I still don't blame him very much, to be honest with you. Korpisalo though, it's a fucking problem. He's like you'd think. Oh, I don't want to be throwing shade at teams that have nothing to do with this game, especially since they just fucking killed Boston. But like when you've spent the vast majority of your career with the Columbus Blue Jackets, and then you sign long term with a team that should be making the playoffs, and you're having a worse time dealing with defense here than you were in Columbus, might be time to restructure a few things. From Mark, that would be great, but please don't rob us of one of the few excellent analysts. That's the thing too, right? She's so good. She's so good, and like in such a rarity too. And you're exactly right, Mark. You're absolutely right that like there's something about panels on. I only consistently watch hockey and baseball, so these are the only ones I can compare to. Obviously, I can't judge like the NBA panels on their knowledge. I don't doubt that they're super knowledgeable, but they are absolutely entertaining as hell. And the ones I watch the most, obviously being hockey and baseball, like they usually suck. Hockey especially. Like on the like during the intermission today, on TSN, they were going back and forth. They had this bit where it was, which Tkachuk brother would you have? Would you prefer on your team? And naturally, the answers are split down the middle. Because they're like, well, who do you want to take? Okay, if you're taking Matthew, then you have to take Brady, so it's even, and then we can talk about both. Like it's stuff like that. And then I can't remember what the other segment was, but it was the exact same thing where it was like, hey, well, obviously you've just like more or less been told what to say, and it sucks. Like intermission panels are the worst. And that said, Cheryl Pounder's insight and the way she breaks down plays is such a welcome improvement to basically everything that is an NHL game intermission panel, regardless of whether you're watching it on TSN or Sportsnet. Across the board, it's usually awful. So I'm with you there. But her clearly knowing the game at such a high level just makes me want her involved with my favorite team that much more. Let's see. Who was the Rangers coach last season? Gerard Gallant. Man, Gerard Gallant's been on the move so much recently, I don't even remember where he was recently. From Matt Hall in the chat, would you believe Treliving gave up a first and 2 seconds for Hamonic? Man, there was a point where Hamonic, when Hamonic was on the Islanders, like he was a premier shutdown defense. I don't actually know if he was a premier shutdown defenseman, but that's just how everyone looked at him, right? So I don't know if and if we're looking at Travis Hamonic's prime being what his like second, third year in the NHL when everyone thought he was his premier shutdown D. I don't actually know how much of that involved. I don't know, uh, like actual stats or just an eye test of big guys blocks pucks. I don't know if he. I honestly I didn't watch enough of the Islanders during his like prime there that I have no idea how he played at the time. I have no idea. Um, let's see here. Which goal is more egregious? The offside goal tonight or the game-winning goal for the game-winning Colorado goal from last year? Oh, is that the is that the non-whistle goal? That's from Nick in the chat. Are you talking about the non-whistle goal? I'm assuming that's what you're talking about. The play against Colorado where they just decided to not blow the whistle. Everyone stopped playing except for who scored that goal? Why do I want to say Lars Eller? I don't even know if he ever played for Colorado. Am I losing my mind? Because if you're like, did Lars Eller play for Colorado? I want to say no. And yet, Lars Eller did play for Colorado. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Crazy. You ever like know something and then don't believe you know it? Um yeah, I don't know honestly. I'm going to say the Lars Eller goal was definitely the worst one. And I know like, the whole thing, play the puck until you hear the whistle. I get that. I get that. And I remember that night I tweeted that like and this is rent free Habs live rent free whatever. Um when you've played Carey Price twice, when your favorite team has played Carey Price twice in the first round, you kind of like don't forget this. In the time that the Sens didn't get a single whistle for a stoppage of play and Lars Eller scored, Carey Price would have had like 5 whistles in that time. Do you think the Senators should have kept Hogberg? I don't know. How is he? You know what? This is a fun bit. Let's see how he's doing. Where's he gone? So he's been in Sweden the last few years. He's doing pretty good. He's doing pretty good. In 2021, as bad as he was in Ottawa, in Belleville, only 2 games, he had a 950. Then he goes to Sweden. Since then, he's put up a 910, 904, and then so far this season in 18 games, he got a 919. Which I mean, like, part of me wants to say yes, they should have held on to him, but also part of me wants to like, really lean into the fact that goalies are voodoo, and that's just the way it is. An example being Gustafsson. Like Philip Gustafsson played awful in Ottawa, goes to Minnesota, and if not for Allmark, puts up a really, really good case to win the Vezina. And then this year, he's unplayable. Cam Talbot, last season in Ottawa, if not for him, Sens have a real shot of making the playoffs last year. I honestly believe that. And maybe I'm nuts, but he was so bad last year to the point where like, and I think we're growing as a fan base because this season I'm watching a bunch of stuff go past Forsberg and Korpisalo, and I'm blaming the defense. But I think last year it was a Cam Talbot issue, just awful, unplayable, and now he's putting up insane numbers in LA. And granted, yeah, the difference between LA and Ottawa's defense, it's an immense difference between the two. But like a solid defense doesn't change an 890 goalie to a 925 goalie. You know what I mean? So goalies are voodoo, and it's entirely possible that any goalie the Sens traded away who are doing well elsewhere would be doing just friggin' probably would be, especially with this defense, would be doing horribly with the team. Maybe better than Forsberg. I'm still in Korpisalo's corner 100%. I honestly believe in, which is crazy because coming into the season, I was really iffy about that contract. If he had any help so far this season, he'd be like I think he'd be a without a doubt top 15 goalie so far this season, without a doubt. Yeah. Just really odd stuff with goalies. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know, folks. This was a rough one. Um, I don't know. Where do you go from here? Um, I guess if you're looking ahead to the next game, which isn't for a long time. Oh, let me double check the schedule here because I want to see if there's any guests lined up. Speaking of which, thank God. Originally, Travis Yost was supposed to be on this show with me tonight. Um, Fortunately for him, his schedule changed and he was no longer able to make it. Could you imagine making Travis Yost talk about this game? I'd feel awful. I'd feel awful for that. So thankfully he couldn't make it. Um so the next game is on Friday. Friday. It's Monday today. If I feel like we've said this before. If DJ isn't fired tonight, or not fired tonight, if DJ isn't fired in the next couple days before that game on Friday, we kind of know he's not going to be losing his job at all this season. It's the perfect time to do it. You just finished the Sweden trip. It would have been awkward to fire him right before the Sweden trip. I get that. At this point, if he's not fired before the game on Friday, at the end of the week, it's not going to happen. So, lots of time until the next game, which is great because we get to stew in this shit for a long time. Yeah, Friday's against Columbus. And yes, Columbus won tonight. But, like, come on. The Sens need to win that game, right? Like, the Sens need to win the game on Friday. Anyway, I'll be doing the game on Friday. My buddy Matt is going to be on the show with me. He's done a few episodes of this before, earlier this season. Both him and my buddy Sam, the Australian Caps fan, they were on together. We try and do one episode with three of us each season. That came kind of late last season. We did that fairly early on this year, so we want people to try and get another one going like that. But anyway, my buddy Matt, very funny guy, Sens fan, is going to be coming on Friday. And we're going to talk about Columbus and, like, if the Sens can't win that game, I don't know what to do at that point. They don't play forever. They play back-to-back. They play Friday against Columbus and Saturday against Seattle. And Maud's going to be doing that game against Seattle. I'm at a point now where I actually don't know which I'd prefer to do. I don't, like, ask me like a while ago, I'd be all about that Columbus game, but they just killed Boston, and I don't know. It's tricky. Yeah, then they play, I believe it's 15 games in December. And that's the problem. Like, and I understand, like, maybe they're getting cold because they played 4 games in like 2 weeks. So, like, I understand that maybe they're getting cold. They can't, like, get into the groove of whatever. The number of how many back-to-backs are they going to have in December? It's got to be a bunch. You know what? Actually, it doesn't look that bad. The first and the second. The 14th and the 15th. Actually, that's it. Okay, so it's not as bad as I thought. There's only 2 sets of back-to-backs in December. So that just shows it's going to be a consistent schedule through December. So I don't know if that helps. I'm going to tempt fate and say it can't get any worse. So yeah. I don't know. We'll end it here with a question from Adam in the chat. Any value in firing the assistant coaches and bringing someone in? Maybe, but, like, at this point, you gotta just clean house, I think. Like, you gotta clean house. I don't know how else you do it. So we'll see how things go. Plenty of potential for a lot of things to happen between now and the next game on Friday. So hopefully, even if the game on Friday sucks, there's going to be plenty to talk about. We'll just have to see. So I just want to thank everyone for tuning in for this show. This game sucked a lot. I think I touched on everything I wanted to. Oh, the Sens power play over the last 6 games is 3 for 26. So that's something else to think about. 2 of those power plays were tonight. That were like very short. Like I think one of them counted as a power play and it was like 10 seconds or something, and the other one was under a minute. Still. So like it pads the bad stat a little bit, but still 3 for 26 or 3 for 24, who really gives a shit? That's awful either way. So that's one thing I forgot to bring up earlier. But yeah, with that said, thank you guys for tuning in. I really appreciate it. This was a tricky one. Doing such a brutal game solo kind of just sucks the life out of you. But at the same time, I'm really happy that Maud didn't have to talk about this game. I'm very happy that Travis Yost wasn't able to come on tonight. And don't worry, he is rescheduled for a later date. He'll be coming back on the show. He's a phenomenal guest, and I would have been so mad to waste his time being on the show with this game. So I'm relieved about that. So appreciate everyone tuning in, and also thank you for a very active chat. I really, really appreciate it. That got me through this one. So yeah, with that, we're gonna call it a night. If you made it all the way to the end, thank you so much for watching. Be sure to like the stream because it helps. It does. I know everyone says smash that subscribe button, smash that like button. It's cliche, but it helps. So please, if you wouldn't mind, would love to see a good chunk of likes on this. And if you haven't subscribed to SDPN, I think you should subscribe to SDPN. If you're listening to this after the fact on your podcast platform of choice, I highly recommend. If you're free, tune in live after the game. It's a lot of fun. It's usually more fun than this. And you get to hop in the live chat and we all get to talk and it's all a good time. And, at this point, it's kind of like group therapy. Hopefully next time I get to hit the sends button. So thanks again for watching, everyone. And I'll talk to you next time. See you on Friday.